Hello. So what I'd like to do today is to go ahead and cover what I think is just one of the worst pieces of advice given to people when they're checking for the authenticity of an N64 front cartridge label. And that is this idea that if the label is slightly off center, it's fake. That blanket statement in and of itself is just 100% false for two very good reasons. One, there were a number of games that were shipped from the manufacturer that had the cartridge label put on, guess what? Just slightly off center. So they're 100% authentic. They came from the original factory. They just happened to be just a little bit off center during that production run, day, whatever you want to call it. So the other issue is that over time, the adhesive back label, when you're talking about 25 plus years, it's possible for it to shift just slightly. We're not talking about, a huge shift, turning sideways or anything crazy like that. But, slight angle to it, a slight tilt, lean, slightly off center, that is 100% possible. So, just one example of this, this guy is my Donkey Kong 64 cartridge, and it's 100% authentic. Yeah, I know the label is a little bit faded there over time. That's just the way I got it. But I did verify via another method that's a lot more accurate that it's 100% authentic. However, it's going to be difficult for me to show this to you. It is much closer to the edge on this side than it is on the left side here. There's a little bit of a gap there on this left side here. So anyways, it is slightly off center, but I verified that the label is authentic. What happened is that there is a really, really interesting method that they used to produce these labels from the factory, and that was they used these little circle dots to literally to put together the artwork. A really interesting and kind of bizarre method that they used, but that's the way that authentic N64 cartridge labels were produced from the factory. So if you take a magnifying glass and you look at the cartridge label on an N64, if it's authentic, you're going to see all these little dots, almost like, like a dot version, of all these little pixels. So anyways, it's just a really easy method to check. And I would trust that a lot more than I would trust somebody claiming, oh, the label's slightly off center, it's fake. Okay, that's great. That doesn't mean jack, as for reasons I just mentioned. So, anyways, don't buy into that myth of the idea that it's just if it's slightly off center, slightly to one side, slightly tilted or whatever, that the label has to be fake. That is not the case at all. Just as I said, don't use that method for checking for authenticity of a label. Use the magnifying glass method because, in my opinion, that is by far the best. To be able to see those little circles on the label, that's going to tell you better than anything else because reproduction labels cannot duplicate that process. So anyways, that's all I've got. Thanks for watching.